Hey guys, what's up, and welcome back to Terraria 1.2.4. Let's take a look at the best way to build a mage in this patch. So first of all, let's take a look at the weapons. The main weapon that you're going to be using for damage is the Razorpine, and of course reforged to Mythical, because that is the best that it can have, and that gives it the most damage. So here's what it does. It essentially just kills everything. What it does is every single shot, which is actually only 5 mana, or only 3 mana, 5 mana base, and with the reduction I have right now, it goes down to 3. Every shot shoots 2 to 3 little razor pine needles, and only one of them, they only cost mana to shoot it once. And it has insanely fast speed, so all of that racks up to insane damage. Let's look at that. Each of those shots is doing about 89 damage, and it's just going out. And oop, that thing fell from the top. And so what it actually does is when you shoot it, it travels for a little bit before being affected by gravity. So let's see, if you shoot it like that, or if you shoot it straight up, it starts to come down after just a little bit. But it still travels pretty far. Like, watch. Like, right there. It ran too far back, but you see the point. And the Razorpine is dropped by the Everscream and the Frostmoon. And it actually has a pretty high drop chance, and the Everscream isn't that hard to kill, so you can get it decently early on, and it will help with everything. And this is actually probably the best way to kill Duke Fishron using this weapon. So that's what you're going to need. The next weapon that you should be having is the Razorblade Typhoon, again reforged to Mythical. And what this does is it shoots giant razor blades, which is that of what appears to be water. And each of them do a lot of magic damage, and it does cost a bit more mana, and it's a very fast speed to cast, so you can just shoot a lot of them. But the thing about this one that sets it apart from anything else is that the blades bounce, and they actually will home, and they'll just keep bouncing while they home, so it'll just hit. It can hit for up to like 5 times or something. Something ridiculous with each shot. Let's try to find something. So right down here, just shoot one. Look at that. Hit all of them and kill them in a single shot. This is a really, really good weapon. The only problem with it is, look at the mana. It just melts your mana. So that's why it isn't the main damage source, but it still is really good, and it can just destroy groups of enemies. And this is, by the way, dropped by Duke Fishron. It took me a really long time to get it from him because I don't think the drop chance is that good. But you're gonna get the Razorpine first before it, so you have to use the Razorpine to farm the Razorblade Typhoon. The next item that you're going to want to be using is the Bubble Gun, of course reforged to Godly, because that's the best one it can do. And the Bubble Gun does high damage, low mana cost, so it should be a really great weapon. The only downside to it is short range and the bubbles pop, so you can't just shoot like a minefield of them and then run away. But it's really, really good at clearing waves of enemies, because all you have to do is just do it right here. Say there's a bunch of people coming up, stand here, shoot all of those, and that just destroys them. The only downside to it really is it's short range, and that's really the only downside. It's really good other than that. And this one's also dropped by Duke Fishron, but I don't really advise using this to kill him once you get it. The next item to take a look at and to use is the Blizzard Staff. This is a kind of a situational item because, let's take a look at it. It just does massive damage. It has the highest DPS of any magic damage in the game. Maybe even of any item in the game. Well, except for the coin gun with platinum coins. But let's take a look at it. So it does a lot of damage, decently low mana cost, and it showers icicles wherever your cursor is, and it just follows down, and it rains from the sky. And it's ridiculous damage. What's the attack speed on that, actually? Very fast speed. Here's the downside to it, though. Well, first of all, it takes a little bit for it to follow the cursor, and the icicles are affected by gravity, but also, this is the problem. It shoots above your screen, so if you're down here or in a cave or something, you're not going to be able to hit anything just because it's being blocked by anything above. So it's more of a situational item to use, but it's really good, and it can really change the fights. The two other items that you might want to just have up in your inventory, but you're not really going to be using, are the Rainbow Gun with Reforged to Mystic, and the Nimbus Rod. Both of them are decent. Nimbus Rod a little bit better just because you leave it somewhere and then you'd go to fight, and those will actually be doing more damage when you combine with the Spectre Armor. I don't really like the Rainbow Gun, but sometimes if there's a large group of enemies in front of me, I can just shoot it and leave it, and it'll just go ahead and melt them down. But you're not really going to get like that, for example, because it just stays. You're not going to get much use from them. So I don't really recommend using them as like a main source of damage, just for that reason. Not too high damage. I did also forget to include that the Blizzard Staff is dropped by the Ice Queen and the Frostmoon, and the Ice Queen is a harder boss to do than the Everscream, and she has a lower chance to drop it just because you won't be killing as many Ice Queens as you will be killing Everscreams. Alright, the next thing to take a look at is going to be the armor and equipment. So first of all, I recommend taking the damage Spectre armor, because that is by far the best now. Lets you do the most damage, and technically lets you survive the longest just because the enemies will be dying faster than the Spectre hood. Except I always like to keep the Spectre hood in my inventory, just because if you're running low in, say, the Frost Moon or something, you can run away, throw on the Spectre hood, do some damage with that, heal up, and then go back to the Spectre mask. The items to take are the Ankh Shield. I always have it be warding. The Fishron wings or any other wing, I always have them to be warding though. And then Sorcerer Emblem, Menacing for extra damage. Celestial Emblem for even more damage. You see how far I could pick that thing away from. For extra damage, and Menacing then for even more damage. And then you have two options here for the last one, which is where I put my mana restoration or mana like upkeep item. And for this one I have a Menacing Magic Cuffs because it gives you a maximum mana increase by 20, and every single time you take damage it's restored. And so I like that for doing things like the moon's invasions, or just running around and doing just running around throughout the world. But in a boss fight, I will normally be taking the Mana Flower, Reforged to Menacing. Gives you less maximum mana, but it reduces your mana cost, like to use all of the things. And here's the thing to it: I'll use this because it destroys your mana. You can just spam all your spells, and then as you're running low, it will automatically drink a mana potion for you. So that's pretty handy. The only problem is that when you drink mana potions, it reduces your magic damage, and it keeps stacking the more you have to drink them. So it actually will reduce your damage the more you take it. And that's the reason why I normally like to use the Magic Cuffs. And one thing I should include is that you should not upgrade it to Celestial Cuffs with the Celestial Magnet, because it actually you'll have the same effect stacking with the Celestial Emblem, and it removes the increased maximum mana by 20, so it's not really as useful. Two other things that you can include in what I would recommend to change it of is you can also use the Frostbark boots if you really want to be able to just run around faster, but I don't really think you need that, especially with Fishron wings, because you can just move around fast, use grappling hooks if you need to. Shouldn't really have to worry about the moving that. Look at that, all the way over there. Moving too fast. But if you're going to take it, I recommend replacing the Frostbark boots for the Celestial Emblem, or actually I'd say replace it for the Sorcerer's Emblem, because they both use equal damage. And so actually, let's take a look at fighting a boss. Let's start with all three of the mechanical bosses. Alright, it's now nighttime, so I'm ready to fight the bosses. All three mechanical bosses at the same time. The only difference is I put on a Wisp, and I put on my Tempest Staff. And neither of those are affected by the set, so let's spawn them. One... Ooh. What? I thought that didn't make a noise. The Skeletron didn't make a noise. Okay, so the key for this fight for me right now is going to be kiting around, because I'm losing every time I take damage. I can't heal it back. So I'm just going to be kiting around with this. Oh, I forgot what I wanted to put on. So this is a boss fight, which is what I was talking about earlier, about how usually for boss fights you want to put that item on. You want to put on the flower. Okay, and then so the other key part for this fight is every single time I kill a little minion thing, I'll pretty much be picking up the whatever you call it, the star, the mana from it. Jump through and around. So all it is just kiting around. And then once I kill a few, I will switch from this bouncing weapon, and I'll go to a what's it called? To the Razor Pine. So I'm gonna kite all the way back right now. 30 seconds off of my. I'm gonna switch back over here so I can grab those health. Although I probably took more damage, yeah, because I couldn't grab all of them. Alright. So jump up here, fly around. Hopefully we don't spawn a Wyvern while we're up here. Destroyer's already done. Let's go ahead and switch to a single target damage now. I'm missing almost all of them. Let's go back to this. So as you can see, I'm just popping my pots right now. That's all, like, I'm just healing up, never running out of mana, just able to constantly use it, throwing all the spells, and there's all the bosses. As you can see, it's actually pretty easy. I took one health pot, yeah, look, they're all dead right there. I just took one health pot, and I was good all of it. I was just running around, kiting them, shooting, and actually only used the Razorblade Typhoon, but for a solo boss fight, I really, really prefer the Razor Pine. And with the Mana Flower, yeah, with a Mana Flower, mana's actually not a problem, because you can just spam as many spells as you want, and you don't have to worry about the about your mana as long as you have the pots. That's one thing though. I think I used like 10 pots right there, and that's even when I had a lot of damage going. So it's usually a little bit worse. And also I had the Celestial Emblem. That's what it helps out for. But actually, the mage is really easy, and that's probably... this is actually the way I fought every single boss. I beat him with a mage. I don't like ranger more, and I don't like melee more. Mage is just the way to go, I feel. So you guys, I hope you try it out. I hope you find success, and I hope you guys can easily find all the weapons, because some of them can be sometimes hard to get, and it takes a lot of farming to get the Spectre robe, the Spectre gear, including the mask. So guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace out.